You know how we do when we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just sitting there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do on a mission, but my business I'm pushing through.
Tennessee knocks off South Carolina 27-24. Georgia blows out Kentucky 27-3. Auburn in the shocker beats Texas A&M 26-10. But you know what? I mean, let's just get to it. You know, Missouri. You know, it's not even about the game. Yes, they lost to Mississippi State. Yes, Dak Prescott went crazy on them, threw the ball all over the place. Let me just make one mention. Dak Prescott, he went over 10,000 yards for his. He went over 10,000 yards for his career. He's the 10th player in SEC history to do that.
Wow.
He only needed 65 yards going into the game, so that's huge. I'm not sure if he's building up his draft stock or not, but that's really big for Dak Prescott. But Missouri, there's some things that are bigger than football.
Yes, sir.
You know, there's a lot of people heard it all over the news about the racist acts going on Missouri's campus. You know, the swastikas being drawn into feces and spray paint and things like that. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been a lot of craziness going on in Missouri. So, first, you know, there were students that said, okay, we want the president to step down. You know, they made a stand. And I thought, you know what, that's huge. If that's something that you believe in, then you stand up for what you believe in. So,
at all costs?
I mean, hey, if it's something like that, you can't just take a back seat to that. You have to stand up at the forefront and say, you know, this is what this is. You know what, we have to make this happen. Especially if you don't feel safe or respected on your own campus where you pay tuition also, there's nothing different from you than from any other person on that campus. Everybody's paying tuition. Maybe you have a scholarship, but that money's coming from somewhere. You deserve the same type of respect that everybody else on campus deserves. Just because you're a minority doesn't mean you deserve less respect. So I can respect that they stood up for something that they believe in. A lot of people try to kind of brush it under the rug. You know what? But Missouri players, they stepped forward and they said, you know what, we're on strike also. We're bringing this school millions of dollars. We're not going to play football unless the president steps down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he ran down. I guess, you know, football can get some attention some type of way because ever since the situation where they had the situation with Mr. Brown over in Missouri, things haven't really been the same since. The media has done a good job of keeping it under the rug. But as far as the ongoing situation with the St. Louis Rams when they came out early in the year, and then also now as far as the Missouri football team, you know, taking it to the next level, it definitely represents a time of letting the people know that, hey, you know, right is right, and the football team is letting them know that, you know, we can't tolerate, like you say, coming to campus and having swastikas running around the campus and things to that nature, you know. And it's a good thing that the president, you know, had to do what they had to do. You know, he had to sacrifice some type of way. If he wasn't going to do it while he was on the job, maybe he could get somebody on the job that could take care of the situation the right way.
You know what? And when racial tension is at an all-time high, okay, so you want these guys to go out there and suit up and play football for, I'm not saying, of course, I mean, I'm not going to just generalize their fan base and their students and say, okay, well, everybody feels that way. Obviously, that's not the issue. But there's some real hate going on. There's some real hate, and those players said, you know what, we're not going to deal with it either. So when they put things on halt, and you start halting the money that's coming into the university, okay, that's when it gets big. All right, so then Timothy M. Wolf, the former president of the University of Missouri, he steps down just this morning, and then he's followed by the chancellor who stepped down because they saw that, okay, they're not playing. And if they weren't guilty in some way, do they step down that quickly?
Well, any statements was made?
Nobody heard about them. Quiet statements. I didn't hear about any statements were made. I just heard about it.
You just step down. You don't address the issue.
When you step down that easily, that shows a little bit of guilt. Now I don't think they handle things the right way. If your student population feels unsafe, even if it's a smaller fraction of them, they deserve to feel the same. They deserve to be protected and feel safe. They don't deserve to be outcasted and pushed off to the side. So if that's not happening, and a smaller population of your student body, they are football players, they are black males. So you know what? I'm glad that they took a stand, and I like what Gary Pinkel did, the coach from Missouri. He put up a simple picture on Twitter, and he pretty much said, I have my players back. That's it. I have their back. So now it's not about, okay, these players are just doing this and they should be happy they have a scholarship and all that. What do you mean you should be happy you have a scholarship? So if you have a scholarship, you should shut up and just let injustice happen and just be slapped in the face left and right just because you have a scholarship? A scholarship is not worth your self-respect. You have to live with that forever. Whether you make it to the league or not. A 4-year scholarship, 3-year scholarship, however long you're there, based off of all that money that you bring into that program, that doesn't equal out.
Well, you know, the coach, he has to understand that that affects him more directly than anybody else. Football coach, you know, every year he has to recruit. When he goes and recruiting in these living rooms and dealing with the parents and things of that nature, these are questions he has to answer to the parents. These are questions he has to answer to the guardians of these players. And so he definitely has to have his players back, especially going out in the SEC every Saturday. Those are his kids, you know, so he has to make sure that they, and if his team isn't happy during the week, how are they going to be happy on Saturday? How can they play good for a university when there's a situation going on and his players are pretty much worried about getting to practice safely because there's other issues going on? So he definitely had to come to the forefront immediately, especially competing in the SEC, because you don't want to have that type of situation going on in your campus and then you got to go play games every Saturday, because if you don't have the right personnel every Saturday in the SEC, it's going to be a long season. And not only that, can have a big trickle-down effect from not only the president, but say, for instance, if his players weren't happy and it continues to happen, then who's the next person out of the job would be the football coach, because if you don't win in the football in the SEC, you're not coaching that, plain and simple.
Oh, definitely. But you know what? We just want to touch on that because that's some serious stuff. But you know, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with some more football action for you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is J Bay, and I'm an up and coming rapper from Tampa Bay, and also I'm a student at HCC. And I just want to let y'all in on a couple events that are going on this weekend. First, we got the Tampa Bay Association of Black Journalists, which is hosting the Griot Drum Awards, which will be at 7 p.m. on November 12th at the Tampa Marriott West Shore with speaker Eric Deggans. Then Giving God the Glory is having its first ever G3 Gala, which will be at Mosey on November 13th. The individual tickets are only $60. It's a black tie affair, and all the funds collected will go towards helping the youth. Then it is about that time to reveal the beautiful 2016 Miss UT Caribbean delegates. This will be going down on Sunday, November 15th in the Allen N. Reeves Theater at the University of Tampa at 6 p.m. You can come and see special live performances by the Spanish dance team, dime people, and musicians such as Jacoy Holly and Rudy Sebastian. It's supposed to be short and sweet, only $3 at the door. And all the proceeds go towards the prizes for the delegates at the pageant. And then last but not least, we got the Epic Fashion and Hair Experience 2015 at Lake Mirror, which is in Lakeland. That'll take place on Sunday, November 15th from 5 to 8. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
All right, sports fans, welcome back. Got some more football action for you. We're just going to jump into the ACC, but we might as well start off with the biggest game in the ACC of the season so far. Clemson, Florida State. Clemson, the newly minted #1 team in the nation, and they were the #1 team before they played Florida State. Florida State struggles, you know, quarterback, who knows who's starting. Dalvin Cook, is he healthy? Nobody knows. But you know what? That was a big-time game.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Did you see Deion King?
I saw Deion Kane. Deion Kane, he looks good. Clemson has some young players that are going to really make some big plays in the future. Deion Kane had 3 receptions, 56 yards and a touchdown. Now, he looks good. I tell you right now, Clemson looks to be the real deal this year. A lot of people are saying, well, Clemson wouldn't have a chance against Alabama. Clemson wouldn't. Okay, Clemson is the real deal this year. Are they going to win it all? I don't know. But you know what? Deshaun Watson, that kid, he's special. He's one of the top quarterbacks in college football, period. And he's only a freshman. He's only a sophomore this year.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like I always say, he's a quarterback that's a running back. So if you have a player like that, and he can also throw the ball, so if the pocket collapses, if he has a crease, he's a nightmare for defenses to catch because he's not a small guy and he's not a slow guy. And he knows how to play the game of football. So when you have a quarterback like that and the team can feed off a guy like that, now it's that much more pressure on the defense. So yeah, Florida State, they might have taken a loss to Clemson this year, but everybody knew that Clemson, this might have been their time to maybe possibly get over the hump. They haven't won a championship since 1981. They're very thirsty as far as getting back to national prominence. And
81.
81. Yeah, 81. So a lot of those Florida kids, they got on the Superman cape like the Deion Kanes, the Ray McLeods. If they bring a championship back to the state of South Carolina with Clemson, they'll be made an instant legendary folklore hero, Greek god. Statues and all will come out. Statues and all, right? They had a kid get baptized on the field this year, so they pulling out all the stops at Clemson this year. They had a baptism at practice. Straight up, bring the water out. So that might be the reason a lot of players are losing right now. I say, boy, y'all baptizing players on the field, it's going to be hard to beat y'all right
God in it, huh?
The baptizing, I don't know if that's in the NCAA book. Can you do that or not?
They've done it.
And it's hard to beat that. When you got your whole players baptized.
No news.
It's hard to stop that.
So the team of destiny, pretty much.
They're rolling right now.
This is their year.
They're rolling right now.
But you know what? Honestly, that was just a great game all the way around. Dalvin Cook, he puts up more rushing yards on the Clemson defense than they've given up all season. Dalvin Cook alone has 194 yards on the ground, 9.2 average. His first run of the game, he broke it for 75 yards?
I heard.
On a bad hamstring and a so-so ankle.
The hamstring's still bad.
I know Jimbo Fisher said that his hamstring was okay, but clearly he pulled up a couple of times in that game.
So do you think Dalvin should have got more carries if he had 194 yards? Should he have gotten the ball more?
No, I don't want to say that because, once Clemson started keying in on that running game in the second half, they were beating Dalvin up. Shaq Lawson and Bullware.
So the passing game couldn't do anything for Florida State? The passing game we seen from last week?
Sean McGuire had 164 yards in the air and an interception. Sean McGuire didn't do anything in
Was
that game.
Golston still hurt or no? A lot of Florida State fans are upset about this.
I think Jimbo just went with the hot hand after the Syracuse game. McGuire had over 300 yards in the first half.
I think with Jimbo, which usually he makes great decisions, but it's easy to have a hot hand after playing Syracuse. So
that is true.
Sending McGuire to Clemson to say he's ready for that game. I thought that maybe he should have had Golston go in the game starting and then maybe have him on a shorter leash. If anything happens, then you bring in McGuire. But, to put McGuire in a situation like that to say that he had a great game against Syracuse, come on, guys. Come on, Jimbo. Let's think about it a little bit.
I don't disagree. I think that Golston should have been a starter. McGuire didn't provide any extra element in that game. He didn't stretch the field. Okay, he took a couple deep shots, but you could have just told Golston to go back there and throw a fly route or a deep post.
I can take a deep shot.
That's nothing. But McGuire didn't do anything special to me. I think that's why they really just kind of broke down in the second half. But you know what? Clemson took their hits on the chin, and Clemson flipped it back around, and they did what champions do.
But yeah, they're a tough team. Yeah, Clemson is a tough team. They have a great coach, things of that nature. So they're definitely, I hear they're supposed to represent the Atlantic right now. So they just got to pretty much make sure that they don't have any slip-ups on the way to a possibly playoff berth. Let's call it what it is. They do have an inside track for that. If they come out the ACC undefeated, they will have a playoff position. I don't know how they'll figure it out, but they definitely will be in there, especially with them being number one right now. As far as the other teams in the ACC, Miami is still lurking around a little bit. Who knows? A lot of people say they're gimpy and limping around. a big game this week with North Carolina, who's a team Clemson may play in the ACC championship, and North Carolina has been looking pretty hot all year. I cannot lie. If it's a team that makes me nervous, it's the Tar Heels right now.
Well, the Tar Heels will make me nervous too. They blew Duke out 66-31. My goodness.
Yeah.
Like everybody said that Duke's defense was the nucleus of their team. If that's the nucleus of your team,
No
You need a
love.
new team?
if that's the nucleus of your team, you're not going anywhere anytime fast.
North Carolina didn't feel sorry for Duke at all after Duke lost that close game with Miami the following week, the week before. They came into Chapel Hill and Duke just pretty much opened the biggest can of you know what in America on them. 66. That game was over after the first quarter.
Marquise Williams threw for 494 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Alone, the quarterback threw for almost 500 yards. You know what? I don't want to keep talking about this because it's going to frustrate me. Because when I think about defensive backs and them just not covering receivers downfield, I don't know what's going on. But we're going to take a break. We'll come back with some more football action for you. So Miami wins the game against Virginia. What do you have to say about that one, Antoine?
Miami wins again. It's been a roller coaster season after losing the coach 2 weeks ago, but Larry Scott has, done a great job so far, where expectations are extremely low. There's, people raising their eyebrows a little bit. Nothing spectacular. There's a vicious game looming this Saturday with North Carolina. They're only trying to get to the ACC championship. Not a lot of people think Miami can win this game, but who knows? If you have a quarterback like Brad Kaya, a couple of adjustments here and there. Well, basically, looks like the players they like having fun playing with this particular coach, Coach Scott. So, anytime you have those type of athletes, Floridian athletes, and they just playing with passion and playing like they want to play, there's always a chance. It depends on how the game start out, but seems like if Miami can, some type of way get out to an early lead and keep the game close, who knows what may happen in the fourth quarter. Mark Walton is starting to show some forms of the freshman that people have been hearing about. Stacey Coley has been coming around. And, the defense, Tracy Howard had a nice game last week. It was just good to beat Virginia. It's a team that Miami has had struggles with the past few years. And, with the Hurricanes, every Saturday is a game that some people just have to watch regardless of the situation. So this Saturday won't be easy. There's a lot of bad taste, a lot of bad blood in the state of North Carolina right now, the way that Miami won with Duke. And then North Carolina trying to get to that next level as far as they have the basketball team is supposed to be ranked #1 in the country, and the football team's doing good, so the campus is buzzing in Chapel Hill. So make no mistake about it, Miami has a tough game Saturday. But if they can some type of way, find out a way to pull it out. Last year was a close game and Miami still won. But if they can some type of way win the game, who knows what's going on? Who knows?
Most definitely. Mike London clearly on the chopping block. I think that might have been the nails in the coffin for him. He's tried hard. He hasn't produced anything really outside of, I believe, his first year where he had a decent team. Mike London's on his way out. Another job opening. There's 1 million jobs opening in the season. Elsewhere throughout the ACC, Boston College gets thumped by NC State 24-8. Jacoby Brissett. I stay impressed with him. Louisville beat Syracuse 41-17. Syracuse is not good. Syracuse hasn't been good since they came into the ACC.
No, not at all.
We'll see what happens down the line. Big game by Notre Dame over Pittsburgh. Deshaun Kaiser. I stay impressed with that young man. He stepped in after an injury. He's played really good. He threw for 5 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns to throw for. Only 262 yards, but 5 touchdowns, which means there were some short fields in there.
5 touchdowns is 5 touchdowns, either way it goes. So a lot of quarterbacks love to substitute those 5 touchdowns, anytime, because sometimes they get interceptions, field goals. You always want to get those touchdowns, so you can never take that for granted. So if you can get a touchdown, you'll take it. If you get 5 of them, you definitely get put it in your bag and, call it a great day, definitely.
Oh, most definitely. Let's jump over to a little bit of Big 12 action. Baylor, Thursday night game, they beat Kansas State 31-24. I know that's a closer game than a lot of people thought, but you know what? Hey, Kansas State, they play tough sometimes. Bill Snyder, he's not a pushover. Bill Snyder came in with a great game plan. I heard he basically said we're going to play keep away with the ball, which means keep the ball away from Baylor's offense so they can't go crazy on you on the field. So I have to give Bill Snyder his props in that. He really had a great game plan. They came up, they barely lost the game now. They came up short by a touchdown. So
Yeah, Bill Snyder, he's a great coach. I think he's just a little older, as far as, trying to keep up with the system and these guys these days. He's been out there for a long time. So even for him to play these games tight, the way that he has, not saying that his best days are behind him a little bit, but yeah, he's going to play tough with respect. But I think it may be time for Bill to maybe step down a little bit. Hopefully they can get the right coach, as far as what they need. I'm not saying that Bill's not the right coach for Kansas State, but he's been there so long. I just think it's probably time for him to pretty much, relax a little bit, and just enjoy a different part of Kansas State as far as what he's done for that state, what he's done for Manhattan, and the players and things of that nature. So, not saying that he can't get it done, but as far as the Big 12 is concerned right now, with the Baylors, the TCUs, things to that nature, Oklahoma State, I just don't know the type of offense he plays versus the type of offense that the Big 12 is moving toward. I think he may be the only school that doesn't really play a spread type offense. His quarterback, usually he would have a dynamic offensive threat at quarterback. Haven't really seen the guy making those national headlines like the Michael Bishops, things to that nature from before. It might be time for him to just chill out a little bit.
speaking of TCU, we cannot pass up what happened to TCU this weekend when
It happened.
Oklahoma State stomped them into the ground. Now, last week I was saying TCU should have been in the top 4, and I thought they were
No.
a playoff team.
Not no more.
I was wrong.
You was wrong.
I mean, Oklahoma
It
State,
take a lot for a man to meet him wrong.
It hurts.
college football, you're going to be wrong in this game. Nobody's 100% accurate in this game right here. And also, I mean, with Oklahoma State, the week before that, they put up 70 with Texas Tech, and then found a way to knock off TCU. Basically, we're beating them from the beginning to the end. Now they can, they have a driver's seat, and if they can go undefeated, does Oklahoma State get a spot in the 14 playoff?
Now,
No. No, man.
it's gonna be tough, but now, like when you look at the numbers, now if I told you Trevon Boykin threw for 445 yards, you would say, okay, that sounds like vintage Trevon Boykin. So they probably had a big game. Trevon Boykin threw for 445 yards, had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions.
That's where the game was lost at right there.
4 interceptions. Oh, that's horrible.
Sound like bend don't break defense.
But on the other sideline, you have Mason Rudolph, who throws for 352 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That's what I want.
Welcome to the Big 12.
What's going on this past weekend with just all these 5 touchdown performances by all these players?
Well, I mean, Boykin's been on the other side where he's thrown a lot of 5 touchdown games himself. It's just this week, maybe things just luck wasn't on his side this week, so he had the 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions versus the counterpart had 5 touchdowns. One thing about the Big 12, if you get down out there, if a team gets up on you in momentum, it's hard for you to come back in that conference right there. Whether it's West Virginia, Texas Tech, the type of offenses that they play, if you get down, it's hard to come back. So with TCU, when they got down to a team like Oklahoma State, let me tell you something. Winning in Stillwater is a hard thing to do if you're going against those Cowboys. And once again, they're just proving that as far as the college atmosphere, basketball or football, you come to Stillwater, playing a game at Oklahoma State, if you don't come with your A game, it's a good chance you're going to lose. I wasn't too surprised TCU lost that game at all.
I was just surprised with the way they lost, but you know what? That takes them out of playoff contention. It's
Yeah.
only 1 loss, but that type of loss with their schedule, they're not going to get back into the mix.
Now they out of there.
But Oklahoma, they look really good. They beat Iowa State 52-16. You expect that from Oklahoma.
They have a big game this week with Baylor.
Man, there are some huge games coming up at the end of the season in the Big 12. TCU still has to play Baylor. Baylor has to play Oklahoma. Oklahoma State has to play. They have to play Baylor. They have to play Oklahoma. So you have all these teams. Somebody has to get eliminated.
Sound like in the Big 12, it's about 3 or 4 guys in a small room. It's about 300-pound dudes in a small room, and there's only 1 ham sandwich left in the room. So who's gonna get that sandwich?
One ham sandwich left in the room.
Who's gonna? And one dude already took an L, so he's really hungry. So that would be Oklahoma.
What's on the sandwich?
What's on the sandwich?
Yes, sir.
Life or death, really. That's what's
Oh,
on the sandwich.
man.
So basically, if you win, you survive, you eat. If you don't, you starve.
You watch.
And Oklahoma already has a loss. The guy who you don't expect to have a loss, they have a loss. Oklahoma.
You ever
Now
watch
TCU
somebody eat?
Down TCU got a loss. So the people that's used to eating, they not eating right now. And then you got some new people on the block looking for some things, and they fighting for their life.
Yes, sir.
Which is Oklahoma State and Baylor. Baylor's in there with a backup quarterback right now, still trying to keep national championship hopes alive. Oklahoma State, I mean, whether people believe it or not, if they can go undefeated, they may have a case, especially with the offense that they have. So it's still a lot of football to be played right now. You know, definitely. So.
But you know what? We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back to close it out with a little bit more football action, and then we're just gonna coast off into the night.
Right into the sunset.
You know how we do when we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do. On a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through, no slacking. Make it happen, we grinding hard, we grinding hard. You know how we do when we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do. On a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through, no slacking. Make it happen, we grinding hard, we grinding hard. You know how we do when we have funky music in our ear. We get to writing, ain't no fighting, we just in there trying to win. Ooh yeah, la-di-da, we grinding hard. Ooh yeah, we not gonna stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. Too late to turn back now. I got work to do. On a mission, by my business, I'm pushing through,